Good day and welcome back to another episode of Logistics with Purpose. My name's Enrique Alvarez, co-founder and managing director of Vector Global Logistics, and I'm here with my co-host and fearless friend, Kristi Porter. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I am so excited to have this conversation. We've been wanting to have this conversation for like 6 months now. And so I am, I always tell people that when I talk about our Ukraine office, which is what we'll be discussing, and have the head of our Ukraine office here, I always tell people I want to be Dariya when I grow up. So I'm delighted to introduce people to her. And by the end of the conversation, they may feel the same way.
I totally agree with you. It's been like a pleasure having Daria here. It's great. We've actually have known her for a while now. We have the pleasure of working
Yes.
together at Vector as well. And what you guys do and everyone that I've talked to in the Ukraine are incredibly brave and inspiring. And so it's amazing to have you here. So welcome.
Yes.
Hi
Dariya
everyone.
Mykyta.
I'm super pleased and super happy and excited about our conversation today. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, we are delighted. We've had so many good conversations with you behind the scenes and over
Yeah.
the last, well, Enrique longer, but I had the pleasure of meeting you, I guess a year or two ago. And so I'm really excited to have this conversation and for people to find out more about just what your team does, what you're going through day to day, and what's happening in Ukraine. Because I was talking to in a conversation with somebody the other day, and they said, "Oh, I was, they were involved with Ukraine Aid as well." And they said, "Oh, I talked to somebody, and they were kind of surprised. They were like, 'Oh, the war's not over,'" and I'm like, "Oh, okay." Then we still have a lot of educating to do if some people
Yeah.
are feeling that way. So I'm delighted to have you here, head of our Ukraine office, Daria. This is going to be a really fun conversation. But before we get into it, I want to ask you some quick questions and just respond with the first thing that comes to mind. Okay?
Okay, sure.
Okay. So coffee or tea?
Definitely coffee. I
Oh yeah.
cannot imagine starting my day without the cup of coffee. Right now,
Agree.
I'm sipping a tea, but actually only because it's 5 p.m. But
Because it's 5
usually
p.m.
I
Yeah.
would choose coffee. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tea time, right?
It's tea
Yeah.
time. Yes. All right. What is one thing you can't live without?
Well, probably my family, of course, and
Mm-hmm.
friends. They are super supportive. This is the one of main things why I live. I live for them, on like for myself as well, but for my family, it's super important, and I just can't imagine my life without the family and friends.
Yes. Good answer. And what is one thing that instantly boosts your mood?
Probably outside workouts. This is something I
Mm.
love doing. It's because of my father. He did that like when I was a child. He used to do it like every morning, and this is like the habit from him.
Oh, that's a great habit. Okay. And your favorite book?
That's probably gonna be The Little Prince. Might
Oh.
sound a kind of childish at some point, but this is not only because of the book, that's because of my memories that I shared with my sister. She used to read me this book when we were kids,
Oh.
and we used to be sad or happy like during reading it. So this is something like we shared together. That's my memory. That's why I
I
love that
love
book.
that.
It's actually her favorite book as well.
Oh,
Oh, what
that's
a sweet
great.
memory.
Yeah,
And is your sister older, younger than you?
older. She's 5 years older, and now she lives abroad. So we are like far away from each other right now. That's why these memories are super important for me. That's why when you asked me about the book, this was the first thing I was thinking about.
Yeah. I
What's
love
your
that.
sister's name, Daria?
Her name is Romania.
Romania.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for those answers and for sharing a little bit more of you and your family with us. Let's move on to your background. Tell me a little bit more about your background. Where did you grow up? Some of the things that you might remember when you were growing up in Ukraine, I assume. But go ahead, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your childhood.
Sure, sure. So I was actually born in a small city, which is located near the border with Poland. But since my father, he was military, he used to be like transferred to a different city, which was Lviv. And at that time, I was 4 years old. So I remember myself growing up here. So I don't really have a lot of memories from this small city, but a lot of my relatives, they still live there. My grandmother is there, so we do go to this city like during weekends or especially for like holidays, Easter, Christmas. We always spend there because all my family and relatives are based there. So we moved to Lviv. Then I entered the school here. So the funny fact about me is that I went to school like twice. I mean, like the first class, the first grade, I went twice because when we moved, I used to be like 4 years old, and my mother, she's a math teacher, and unfortunately, she had to work a lot, the same with like dad, and she just took me to school with her, but I was only like 5 years old, so I couldn't really study as much as I should have at that time. That's why I went to school like twice.
Well,
That's a
that's
like
an interesting fact, and I'm sure you're very good at math today then.
Yes. And a lot of
Good.
yeah.
subjects. You got them twice.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, of course. And my mom, she's a math teacher, and my grandmother, she's a math teacher as well. So
Oh,
math, as you can see, was super important,
yes.
like a part of my life.
Oh, wow.
Then,
How cool.
yeah. So, and I also what is great about my childhood, it was super active. I used to do a lot of different kinds of things. Like my parents always tried me to try like every field so I can better understand what I really like. Um, like I did like dancing, gymnastics, like painting, all kind of sports you can imagine. I almost like tried each of it. So this is was that was fine, like fun, and I'm really thankful for my parents that they gave me this opportunity to try all of this stuff and realize for myself that it's super important not to give up because sometimes when you try something you don't really like it at first, but then my mom was always like, you should try second time and then you will better understand if it's something that you really don't want to do or if it's just something like, you know, laziness or
Right.
something, because when you're a kid, you don't really want to wake up at 6 a.m. to go and do gymnastics, right? So she was the one to like influence me and push me a little bit to try more and more. At some point, I would just skip something because, of course, I didn't like
Right.
everything I tried. But what I want to say, I spent like 10 years dancing. That was something I really enjoyed to do during my childhood.
What kind of dance is it, or was it?
That was like national dances,
Okay.
like Ukrainian
Yeah.
dances. Some
And
like
you had to
part,
dress. It was all with the dress and everything, like
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah, yeah,
traditional.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice.
And I used to travel because there are like competitions abroad that you can go and dance over there. So it's also was cool about it because I traveled a lot with the dance club at
That's
that
great.
time.
What's the name of the dance, Daria? Even if it's in Ukrainian.
It's ballet життя. It's
Okay.
if we translate it, it's called life. Let's say, yeah.
Oh, I
Hmm.
love that. That's perfect. That's awesome. I love the outlook just that you shared through both what your parents taught you and the fact of trying again and to not give up and the persistence. And obviously,
Yep.
that certainly frames who you are today. I have no doubt just from our conversations. And so it may be a story that you kind of touched on just now or something else, but is there something you can remember from your early years that you're like, oh, now I can kind of see who I am or what I've done or where I ended up based on that memory?
Well, it's probably, of course, it's connected with me being a child, but I would better say the main thing was during the teenager, like when I was a teenager, because at that time I had to make my own decisions who I want to become, like which university I should enter, what I want to do, and so on and so on. And it's kind of not easy for like 16 or 17-year-old girl to choose the life path, but I knew exactly what I wanted to do at that time. And I entered the university and I had to move to a different city, capital. So I was like 17 years old and I had a life as a like grown up. So I started my own path separately from my parents, which is not easy because you move like Lviv is a big city, but if you compare it to Kiev, a capital city, which is like 5 times bigger, and you are like a 17-year-old girl in the city, like starting your own life. It was like super challenging, but that's actually the period when I really became a grown-up person, knowing what I want, which way in which direction I want to move, what are my main values, main goals, and how do I see my future. So probably that was more like teenage. When I used to be a teenager, when I realized who I am and whom I want to be in the future.
Well, and you actually went to the university, studied in the National University, correct, at Kiev?
Right.
And you
Yes.
studied aviation, master's degree in airframe mechanics and aircraft maintenance. That is very
Yeah.
impressive. I would have never guessed that that's what you studied. What,
Not at all.
can you share with us why did you choose this
Of course.
path and what actually drove you to this very interesting and very specific field?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I chose not the easiest way,
It
as you
doesn't
can
sound
see,
easy at all. No,
at
a lot
all.
of
But the
math,
the
a lot
math
of
skills
math.
came in handy.
A lot of math.
Yeah. I'm good at math, but I'm bad at physics, to be honest. Like, basically, the university has a lot of physics subjects over there, and I was not really good at physics, but I was good at math always. But it's something like combined, you need to know physics and math at the same time. So the physics were super challenging for me, but math was great. Why I chose this field? It's probably because of my cousin. So when I used to be at school, my cousin entered this university, a bit different like field, but the same university, and a lot of subjects are like the same, similar, common subjects. And she used to share how she was like passionate about the university, about what they do there, that they have like lessons inside like of the airplane, which was like wow, because usually you just regularly visit the university, and this was something different. So they had lessons at the airport, inside of the airplane, and so on and so on. And I started going a bit deep into this field. I started watching different podcasts, YouTube videos. Also, I liked watching about the aircraft crashes. Maybe it sounds weird a bit, but that actually is super interesting. I mean, you just try to understand why that happened, what could be, how you can prevent that in the future. This is about more about the safety and stuff. So I also had such a subject at the university, which was my like favorite. You just studying about the airplane crashes, which is super cool. So after I graduated school, I definitely knew the university I wanted to enter, what I want to study, and so on. So yeah, this is how I entered
Well,
National
I know
Aviation University.
Kristi has a question, but I wanted to
Yeah, go
follow
ahead.
up with, are you afraid of flying? Isn't this like a little bit,
No,
I know, that's what
you
I
know
was
too
thinking the
much?
same thing.
You kind of know
no.
too much, and you're like maybe looking at all these different airplanes when you come in, and you're like, oh,
You
this
know
is
what goes
No,
wrong
that's
with
why you are not afraid to fly
Okay.
because you
all
know
right,
more
good.
about, like, the turbulence when the airplane is
Okay.
shaking. You just understand why that is happening, and that's why you are not afraid. Most of people, they are like terrified
Right.
because like the airplane is shaking so hardly, and they're like, "Oh, we are about to die," and I'm like, "Guys,
You
relax.
understand.
This is
Right.
just turbulence." It's, yeah.
It's funny because I can still, even though obviously, well, you're in kind of an adjacent industry now, but I can still hear like your excitement for it and your passion for it. So it still has carried you through. But so you went into, and it does sound really cool to be able to, what an awesome teacher too, to be able to have classes like that. So that's pretty forward thinking as well. We met you when you were in the trucking industry. So how did you go from this kind of studies to in aviation to road transportation and trucking, and that's kind of a similar industry but a big shift at the same time. So what led you to your next step?
Well, that's definitely a huge shift. Like, um, so to be honest, after graduating the university, I really planned to work in the like aircraft industry in engineering and do stuff that I planned to do before. But then COVID started, and things started like to be different. And at some point, I was thinking about, oh, it's not gonna be for like long time. It's just gonna take like a few couple of months. But day after day, I started realizing that COVID is still, let's say, COVID, we still have COVID. Nothing is really changing, and I need to find another field where I can grow, where I can build my career. And then I found the trucking company that I actually was the first one for me to work in the logistics sphere. And I didn't really know much about the logistics at that time, just general stuff. And I started working as a like support representative, just super regular position, but super challenging at the same time. And I started going like deeper and deeper into the industry, understanding how it's all connected. I mean, like when you go to the supermarket and you see the product on the shelves, you just start realizing it's all logistics. Everything is logistics. It's all connected. The impact is like huge, super huge. And at some point, I started realizing I like what I do, and I'm passionate about what I do, and I realized that I don't want to go back to the aviation industry, and this is what I want to do right now, and probably maybe the rest of my life. Like I cannot be like 100% sure that nothing is going to change in the future, but at this very moment, I'm confident that I am where I should be right now.
Wow. Well, thank you. Daria, as you know, we've been involved in Ukraine right after the war started. We've been shipping a lot and we're trying to support the Ukrainian people and Ukraine in general. And through that effort, we've actually realized how a big country Ukraine really is, how many different minerals it is, how many amazing things. And before that, of course, living in this other side of the world, we didn't really realize the big impact that Ukraine has in many, many industries. But I guess instead of giving you all those different stats, just what do you love the most about Ukraine? What's one thing that you love about your country, or a few things, so that listeners out there can relate to Ukraine even more?
So, what I love in general about my country, because before the war started, I thought of how actually Ukrainians like progressive are. They are like we have all of this great stuff that even in US you guys don't have it, to be honest. For example, what I'm proud about is Dia. That's like, for example, the app where you have all your documents, paperwork, and everything. So everything is digital. If we speak about business, it's kind of different story. But I'm talking about regular life. We are super progressive, innovative, which I love about. I love our food. To be honest, for me, there is no better food than Ukrainian. I love like, don't get me wrong, I love like American food, Italian, like Greek and so on and so on. But for me, like Ukrainian food is the best. So once you're in Ukraine, you should try borscht, vareniki, and everything. But it's not only about that, because when the war started, I started realizing how my like the unity that I felt at that moment was like you can't even imagine. So when the war started, we were all frustrated because we never had the war before. Like real, I mean, we had a war since like 2014, but that was like full-scale invasion, which is a bit different. And we all felt fear at that time, but then I went outside and I remember air alarms going on and on and on. And at that time, you didn't even know what that is, what you're supposed to do, and so on. And then people from other regions start coming by cars, by train, because like Lviv is located near the border Poland. And I saw all of these people that were like in need, and all of these people here that used to support them, bring clothes, food, cook on the streets, help kids, women, like men's, like everyone were so united, and this is what I am proud about. So the war definitely changed my mindset, like 100%. So
Wow.
this is what I'm proud about right now.
Well, thank you. And it must be, yeah, it must be challenging and of course scary. And I've never gone through what you have gone through, and it's just very brave. So we're very thankful that you also took the chance to open the Vector Ukraine office this last April, and we're really proud and happy and thrilled to be your partner. What was it like? What was it like to open an office and launch this new venture in the middle of the war, in the middle of all these different challenges that you're facing? Tell us a little bit more about that.
So it's something. It's like if for me it was a feeling that despite that the war is going on and that Russia is like attacking the country and people like every day, we still are we still have this potential to grow and to develop something new. And I'm super thankful for Vector Global in general for giving this opportunity for us to open an office, to have this possibility to grow and to bring like impact, real impact, and to help other people. It's not only about the business, but what I realized that the company itself is more about the impact you create doing like logistics. So that was not easy. That was challenging. It's still challenging. But that's something great and great that we can grow and develop during even a wartime.
What was one
Yeah.
of the main challenges? Was it convincing other people? Was it going to the office? I mean, for all our
Hiring.
listeners
Yeah.
out there, how do you, I mean, what's a day today in the life of you and your team? How do you kind of live this war while you do all these other things on top of having family and friends and a life?
So, to be honest, like every day is unpredictable. Like you don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, but you're getting used to it. So, it's not easy because, for example, during the nighttime, you can wake up at 1 a.m. because it's air alarm. You run to the shelter. You sit there till like 8 a.m., 6 a.m. So you spend the whole night in the shelter, but then the morning is coming and you're supposed to start your day, and you just try to get used to it. I mean, for example, I like probably I told Kristi already about that, but at the beginning of the war, I used to be up in the shelter like during all night, but right now I just take the carry mate, I bring it there, I lay down and I have rest. And the next day I am fresh and ready to start my working day. So this is about something about how you manage it because some people they cannot really fall asleep. For example, my colleague Mariana, she has two kids, and it's not only about herself, but it's also about the safety of her kids. That's why she said, I just cannot sleep, I cannot rest because I'm afraid for my kids, and she's like up every night once the air alarm is on. So it's different. So probably you will need to ask more people how do they manage it, but this is the way I manage it. So you just have no choice. You either do everything you need to do, or you either won't survive, you know?
So yeah, I want to reiterate that. So you were talking about this during one of our last leveraging logistics for Ukraine
Right.
conversations, and so for those who are unaware of that, if you go to our website, there's a Stand with Ukraine page, and you can see our upcoming what's been going on as well as when our next meeting is. But one of the things that that I want to be clear about that you just said is one of the tactics of warfare is that every night, most nights, you will hear sirens, and so you don't ever get a good night's sleep. It is, every night constantly moving in between. If you get up and go to the shelter, regardless, you're up because you're hearing air raid sirens. But some people will get up and go to the shelter. You said you're in an apartment building, so you can go down to a parking lot pretty easy, but some people may have to go quite a further distance. So are they doing that every night? They're tagging children along. So nobody in Ukraine is in a war in one of the affected areas is getting a good night's sleep. So that is one of the tactics of war. And then you're also, we have parents, we have, you're running an office. It is, I just, again, I want to be Daria when I grow up. And so for those of you who've been tracking along, she was talking about going to college and COVID. So now you also know how young she is. And so she was, running a team before we found her, and now she's running our team and doing an amazing job. But yeah, it is a really crazy circumstance to just be living in something like this, as well as having to get work done, having to live your life, having to get groceries, doctor's offices, whatever it may be, that most of us will just never have any idea about. And then, one thing you mentioned a little while back too, you said everything is supply chain, which is kind of the position we take as well. The supply chain never stops.
Right.
So you have essential goods going into places like Ukraine, that is medical supplies, humanitarian aid, and then you have just everyday necessities that everybody needs to just get by, or maybe wants, like chocolate or something like that. So tell us, I guess, more about the importance of maintaining a supply chain in regions that are affecting challenges like this. What is that like? What does it mean to people? We've seen it stop at times and then keep going. So just tell us a little bit more about your perspective of what makes you so eager and effective at just keeping the supply chain running, whether it's everyday essentials or humanitarian aid.
Sure. So in the times of peace, logistics is more about the efficiency, about the cost effectiveness, and so on. But in times of war, it's like more about bringing people hope, like helping them to survive in the regions where you have nothing left. So when I say nothing left, this is like, my father, he serves in military. He's in Kharkiv region right now, and most of the people were like evacuated from the fire zones, but we still have people living there, especially if we speak about older generation. This is where they spent like the whole life. Whole life is there, and they either like they better prefer to stay there under the fire than like move somewhere where they have like nothing at all. So that's why we still have a lot of people in war zones that they all need these supplies to be delivered to them, and it's more like logistics is more even critical during the wartime compared to the peace times, right? So it's super important right now to keep this supply chain going, working, helping people, even for the people who were uh, like transferred to a different, more like safe zone, they are left without nothing, without like clothes. It often happens that they have no clothes, they have no food, they have no job at some point. That's why it's super important for us to help them and to bring them this hope that the life is still going on and that we all will go through that. And at the end of the day, there will be like a bright, piece of brightness, during this dark time.
Yes.
We're all hoping and praying for that, right? And we're really, really looking forward to having peace, peace in Ukraine,
Yeah.
peace in the world, and so hopefully that that will come soon, Daria. And thank you once again for sharing some of your expertise with us. I've been working with you and the rest of the team for a couple of years now, and I can tell the audience that you're incredibly professional and hardworking and committed, and you also have a big heart. I mean, you have been impacted by war and you keep going. And it sounds or it seems to me that at least every single person that I have had the chance to talk to in Ukraine, they just don't give up. It's just unbelievable. I mean, when I found out that the soccer league was still going on, or that you'd still take kids to school, and I'm like, I don't know. It's just it's inspiring to me. I don't think I am that brave. I don't think I would be able to do what you guys are doing, and so it's amazing. What keeps you motivated? How would you describe your leadership style, and what keeps you going?
So probably the people I work with, not only people I work with, but my family and my friends. And I already told you that my father, he serves right now, and he's fighting for our freedom. And I realize how much harder it is for him to do all of this stuff. And I am here like in like I would say way more safe place. And this is the minimum, like the bare minimum I can do right now for first of all, for my family, for my friends, for the people in Ukraine in general. This is just the bare minimum. Um, Regarding if we speak about the company, for me, people are the most important thing. This is like a heart of success. I'm not only talking about the team you are working with, but also the clients, the partners. It's super important for me to have reliable people around me. And I am happy and I'm actually honored to have such a great team and great people around me right now. This is something that inspires me because, it's not like maybe it sounds easy to get up after a horrible night of bombing and like nonstop. But then I see all these people doing the same thing, and this is inspiring. You are not alone. There are like millions of people doing the same stuff like every day just to keep this country going, like just to keep like our economy working, just to help other people and bring them food, water, clothes, and everything, just because they want to help. And this is super motivating. Super
Thank you.
motivating.
Yeah. Well, your team is doing an excellent job. And speaking of that, so we have a results-only work culture at Vector, which is, of course, important to all of us, no matter where we are. But if it has mattered, of course, a lot to your team, who may need to prioritize safety and security versus answering an email or something like that. So we're all about, as long as the clients are happy and the work is getting done, then do it when you can do it. But as we mentioned, Ukraine is an enormous country. Only about 30% or so is considered, has been affected by the war. So there is, of course, still lots going on. As you mentioned, there's still supplies going to the front line. So I think another thing people may be less aware of is they may think, oh, your team is working on only humanitarian aid, but that's not true. You're working on just regular shipments around Europe as well. So, so first, tell me about some of the projects that you're working on, and then one of the other difficulties you've had is just hiring and staffing and keeping, within the first
Okay.
month of opening, we had somebody that had to go into the war, and so it took a while to replace that person. So first, talk about some of the projects that you're working on.
So, if we speak about the humanitarian aid, we work closely with Hand in Hand, Lifting Hands, also Chels of Mercy, and we did a lot of projects for them already, which I'm super happy and proud about. That I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, like, regarding the project, like leveraging logistics with purpose. And this is logistics with purpose. This is one of our main values. So humanitarian aid is like a huge part of our day-to-day work. But yeah, we also do a lot of other projects. For example, it could be sunflower oil, or it could be like furniture, tires. Like last week, we delivered blueberries or bananas, all kinds of products, Coca-Cola, Haribo. You probably know these brands, of course.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Agricultural equipment. So
Yeah.
it may sound like completely different stuff, but we do a lot of super interesting projects. We also have a couple more projects that I am currently working on, that my team is working on. They are more like about the project logistics, a bit more complex and so on. But it's not like our office is not about only about the humanitarian aid, but yeah, we can transfer like agricultural equipment, or is there car parts, or like fuel, not fuel, sorry, but oil for cars and different kind of stuff. So it's like challenging. It's super interesting because every project is unique. Every project has something that you never did before, or you never thought about before. So we are getting this knowledge more and more with each project.
Yeah.
Well,
And then go ahead.
no, you go, Kristi.
Well, I wanted to, yes, and again, huge agricultural business in Ukraine, and of course, Ukraine supplies a lot throughout Europe, Africa, and even to the rest of the world. So if you're wondering why your groceries are higher, then the war in Ukraine is one of those answers. And then also, you have to keep a team staff to be able to handle these projects.
Right.
That has been a challenge as well. Finding people, of course, men could get called up at any moment to serve. So what has that been like?
So that's challenging as well. That I would say the most challenging part for me at this moment. Um, because like Kristi, you mentioned before that we started with a little bit bigger team, but then we a bit shrunk because like one of our team members, uh, he had to join military. He started serving in the army, and you understand that I would say 50% of our team, it's like men's, and they could be serving in the military next day. Today they are in the office today, like with you, working on the project, but tomorrow they could be in the training camp. That's challenging. Also, if we speak about looking for new people to join our team, a lot of people are serving, and I'm not talking not only about men, but also women. They are also serving in the army. We have a lot of people who moved abroad because of the circumstances they were in. They lost like everything, and they are trying to build their life once again from the scratch. That's why a lot of businesses, not only like Vector Global has these issues, but a lot of other businesses, they are facing this issue every day. For example, when we had this law regarding that men, they cannot like leave the country, but then like months ago probably, or a bit more, it changed, and all men under 22, they could be moving abroad. And this what happened. The next day, I would say thousand of people moved abroad,
Right.
and which caused a huge problem for businesses. For example, one of the supermarkets, our regional supermarket, which is like a huge supermarket, they lost 5,000 workers per one day.
Wow.
That's huge, 5,000. So for us, it's challenging to fill the position, not only for Vector, but for all other
Yeah.
companies as well.
Well,
So,
and you mentioned you had the chance to participate and represent us, Daria, in a couple of the world global conferences that we joined, like the WCA projects,
right.
for example, is the last one. What are some of those conversations that you're having with people from all over the world? I mean, do they what do they tell you? What are the conversations? What have you learned about their view of the war in Ukraine?
So, just in general, WCA was some like a miracle for me, to be honest. It's a great organization, a great network. Like it blew my mind at some point because I never went to such conferences before, so that was my first time. I was excited at the same time. I was a bit nervous, when you're doing something first time. But I was like impressed by how people were super supportive. Like everyone I met, they used to ask me how we are doing, how the situation is in Ukraine, what they could be doing like more in the future to help us, and they were like super supportive. Um, and they like shared all the knowledge they had. So, for example, I'm pretty much young, right, in the industry. In this position, you won't like meet a lot of people my age having the same position as I do right now. Uh, but people were eager to share their experience, to share their knowledge with me. They would like answer any of my question if like even if it's something super basic that you all know, but I don't. They won't be looking at you that you why you don't know. That's like basic stuff or something. It just they wanted to share their experience. So my experience in the future is better than it used to be for them. So this is what I loved about the project. There were like people from different countries, different companies, of course, like freight forwarding companies, right? Uh, with different kind of experience and knowledge that they shared with me, and I'm super excited about all other WCA project and all other WCA conferences that I hope I will have a chance to attend.
Absolutely, they're a great community, great group of people. Don Marsh and everyone else, they're doing a fantastic job, and I can relate to what you're saying, right? You go to those conferences and you feel that people are together. They're very helpful, or they understand that
Right,
you need all of us, right, to move things around the world, and so they're very open.
right.
Yeah, and
Totally agree.
so I'm curious, you talked about all the conversations that you've had. What trends have you noticed in logistics? You're learning a lot at the same time. You've switched industries a couple of times. So, what are you seeing in the industry? What kind of conversations are you having? What trends are you noticing?
So something that I realized, so before the conference, you like people look at other companies as a competitor, right? So they're like your competitor, and like I thought it was this way. But when I went to the conference, I realized that all these people, all these companies, they are more eager to be your partner, to support you in all the ways they can, and to work like together to bring the impact. And
Excuse me.
bless you, bless you.
Excuse me.
No,
I
it's fine.
was scrambling to get to the mute button, and I just couldn't get there quick enough.
It's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. So
Uh,
they are willing to be more partners than competitors. This is something new for me because before there, I used to be in the logistics field, of course, working for a different company. But this is something was what was a bit different from my point of view because when I used to work for another company, right, we were more considering other people as our competitors. Here, in like at Vector, um, this is what is way different, and you meet new people, and they look at you not like your competitor, but like your partner for the future, the people you could be working with in the future on different kind of projects that you couldn't be doing alone because you need like somebody in China, India, Australia, and you cannot like have offices in all of the countries of the world. So of course you need a partner to share and help you to be successful at the end of the day and to bring this impact.
I love that. That's incredible. And so what are some of your future plans for Vector? What are some of your goals and hopes? I don't think you and I have actually had this conversation yet, so I'm excited to hear your answer about this. But what are some of the things that you're planning or hopeful for?
Well, of course, the main thing is growing and
Yeah.
developing. That's the main point because we all know like Lviv office, Ukrainian office is tiny compared to all other vector offices. But this is just today. In the future, I hope we are gonna be one of the major offices, to be honest. So basically, main
Love
thing
that.
is growing and developing, building great relationships with the with people, with the clients. So that's my main plan at this point.
That's a good
And
plan.
you know,
That
like
is a good plan.
building this trust, probably. This is another level of business when people trust you, they know Vector Global, they know Ukrainian office, they know of US office, and they trust you to ship or to do any kind of stuff for them. Um, yeah, because you are providing a great service.
Yeah, you require a lot of trust, right? Especially in global logistics. And
Right.
Daria, thank you so much for participating. I know that you're always very busy, so thank you so much for joining us today. I'm sure that our audience had a blast sharing a little bit of the stories and then learning and finding out a little bit more about the Ukraine. How can our listeners connect with you and of course, learn more about what's happening in Ukraine and how they can get involved? How can they actually continue to help if need to?
Of course, it's probably my LinkedIn. You can message me. I usually try to answer everyone. Maybe not every like day, every minute, but let's say you can always connect me via LinkedIn or via like Vector Global, right? So mm, these are like two main points. Maybe I can share my context, or Kristi, maybe at the end of the
Yeah.
podcast, you can share my,
Yep.
for example, WhatsApp as well. So I
Yeah.
have WhatsApp, Telegram, all the messengers. So I will be happy to connect with more people, even if it's not like business related or
Yeah.
just thing, just to talk, just to get to
Yeah.
know each other more, and maybe in the because you never know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you may know a lot of people and you won't be working with them, but you will like keep in touch, and at some point you realize that you could be doing something together, working on some kind of
Right.
project. So I will be super happy to connect with more people.
Yeah, and one of the other things I think we can link to in the notes as well. A couple of months ago, the the U.S. Chamber of Commerce in Ukraine, long name, attended our Leveraging Logistics for Ukraine call as well. They put out an amazing survey this past July about just doing business in Ukraine. So now, if you're kind of curious about not only Daria's perspective, but what's happening in Ukraine, how are people feeling overall, what it's like for hiring, challenges, supplying the right healthcare and benefits to Ukrainians, what mental health is like for their workers, business size, and all of that. They have terrific survey that came out. So we're proud members, and we're happy to talk to them. And so we'll make sure that is linked as well for anybody who's now more curious about that. Daria, as we wrap up, I would love to hear just what is your perspective when I ask you, what does the phrase logistics with purpose mean to you?
Probably already mentioned that couple of times. So it's the main thing, it's impact. So the real thing, it's just not about moving cargo, moving like goods around the world. It's something that at the end of the day, you have people that benefit from there, from all of this stuff. Um, I mean, just you are changing someone's life. And I also said today, you're bringing the hope to people. You bring them the instrument to survive, to change their life, to be more motivated to keep working, living, and do the same we do. Bring like um, bring something valuable to the table, right?
Yeah, I
So.
love it. Agree. And thank you so much for everybody who's joined us today. Another terrific conversation. We're so happy to hear from you and know that you and the team are safe. And hope that continues. So thank you everyone for tuning in. If you're interested in this conversation, please reach out to Dariya. She's happy to talk to you, as she mentioned. And we'll have another incredible episode in 2 weeks. So stay tuned and keep forwarding the movement. Logistics with Purpose. Be sure to subscribe.